Hi, I'm Olivia.
I'm Easton.
And we're museum kids. So today we're going to be talking about Mr. Sam Mosley and asking him some questions. Mr. Sam, how did you get introduced to music?
Through my father and his brothers. They played music way back in the early 1900s. So I listened to them, and then they would teach me a little bit as time went by. And so I just fell in love with playing the guitar.
That's cool. When did you play your first concert?
When I was 10 years old.
That's really young.
See, back in the day, there wasn't big halls, but there were places like this right here. This is an old cafe.
Oh.
This was a cafe, so there were stools in the cafe.
What was
That's where they served the food at from behind there.
Oh.
And so we'd come to a place like this and sit in the corner, kind of like we're doing here. And the people would be out there, some on the porch, and some there. And we'd play and sing music.
What was your favorite gig you played in?
Huh?
What was your favorite gigs you played in?
Not here, just anywhere.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I have a little love for a lot of different ones, but some of the memories is when I got the chance to go overseas. I played London, the Palladium, Paris, I played Montreux, Switzerland. So those things in those places were special to me because I'd never been there.
What is a juke joint?
You are sitting in a juke joint right now. Back in the old days, this was a juke joint. It's just a place where you gather, you sit over here and you order from back there and you get food. Out here, we'd have a musician just like I am, sitting right in the corner playing music. People over there would be eating and having a little something cool to drink and dancing and carrying on out there. Y'all ever dance anywhere when y'all at school?
Not really.
You don't?
No.
Okay, all right.
Did you play any other instrument besides the guitar?
I played a little bit of piano, but I just fell in love with the guitar, so I decided to stay with it.
How many gigs did you play in?
How many
gigs did you play in?
How many gigs?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. It'll be in the thousands. It'll be in the thousands. But see, I've been playing ever since I was 10 years old.
Yeah.
How old do I look now?
I don't know.
See, I'm 75 years old now. So I've been playing for 65 years.
That's a long time.
Yes,
It's a very long time.
It is a long time. But I still enjoy it.
Yeah.
I still enjoy it. And I hope people enjoy it too. See?
Mm-hmm. What was your favorite song that you wrote and played?
I tell you what, the first one that we got good review on was a song called Rock Me. That's the first one that got us noticed through radio, TV, all over the world. That one song. Have we got that close to being queued up anywhere, Mike? Rock Me. Since we're talking, they might as well hear just a little bit of
I like that song. I like it.
You like that? Well, that's all right. That's what I like to hear. People sitting around, see, they would be getting up now, getting ready to dance.
What was your inspiration to write all of these songs?
Well, that's a good question. That's a good question. A lot of them came from experiencing things. You know, when you get a certain age, you start looking at things different, you know. See, a little girl like you keep your mind on your books and stuff like that.
Yes, sir.
Because sooner or later, when you get a teenager, you're going to take a peek at some of them boys. So what you do is just stay in your books and that kind of thing for now. But you know what? It wouldn't hurt to learn how to dance. Can you dance?
No, I can't
Can you
dance.
dance? You know, learn how to dance. And you don't have to do a whole lot of things to dance. You can step, what you call stepping. And it's easy. You know, you want to try?
No.
You don't have to get up. You don't have to move. Oh, okay, all right. The kind of music that I've always wanted to play and sing is the kind of music that everybody can enjoy. Adults, young children, and that's the way I do my music. Now I do have some music it's just for adults, you see. But I ain't gonna play none of that while y'all are here. So the music that I'm gonna play for you is children friendly.
What did you love most about traveling, playing music?
Well, the number one thing traveling and playing music is when you go somewhere and you see something that you've never seen before. You remember the first time you went to the zoo?
Yeah.
You really enjoyed it, didn't you?
Yes.
Saw animals you never saw up close. That's the way it is when you play music. You go in a different place. See, we started off, we play in little places like this. You know, and there'd be a lot of people in here, you couldn't hardly move around. Then we got where we played in auditoriums or gymnasiums, or like over at the school, they got the stage. We play on the stage like that.
So I saw in the museum at your exhibit where you met B.B. King and had lunch with him. What was that like?
Well, you know one thing, it was exciting because see, when I was your age, B.B. King was a big star then. And you know, I started off playing B.B. King type music. B.B. King is a blues player, did you know that?
Yes, sir, I did.
Fantastic. And so that's really how I patterned my style of music, like B.B. King. Because I like blues music, and that's a difference. A lot of people think that all blues music is sad, but that's not right. There's all kinds. Some, you know, maybe a little sad, but some is happy, and some is when you want to have some fun and dance. Matter of fact, I wrote a song called "Let's Have Some Fun." You know, where people can get up and dance and have a good time.
How many golden records do you think you have or got?
I've got 2 to my credit, and Bob Johnson, my partner, he passed away,
Yes, sir.
that we wrote and arranged, and they're on display down at the museum. You ever seen them?
Yes, sir. We just looked at those.
Well, good. These kids are really up on things, aren't they? Yeah, and that was a thrill for me, because there's a famous singer named Johnny Taylor. He sang one of the songs that's on that one over there at the, and I think who was on the other one, man? ZZ Hill. He had a big hit called Down Home Blues. Now, y'all are a little young for Down Home Blues, but it's just a blues song that caught on all over the world. all kind of people love down home blues. See?
What do you think your biggest achievement was in your career of music?
Well, I'll tell you, the biggest thing for me is having those records over there. Have you been in the museum?
Mm-hmm. Yes, I have.
And you've seen those records of mine hanging up on the wall. Mm-hmm. So Bob and I, that's the one thing that we always strive for, is taking it to the next level. And when you can be recognized for what you've done in the business, that's an honor. There are people out there have been singing for 40, 50 years, don't have a gold record. And we got 2 of them.
Yeah. And that's probably hard to get as a musician.
They are hard to get because you have to sell, you got to sell at least 500,000 or one of them to get 1 gold record.
And you got 2, so that you got
a million records.
You got a million.
Right. And see, all together since those, it's probably at probably $1 million a piece.
Yeah.
On the 2 that's down there in the museum.
Who was your favorite partner that you sang with?
Big Bob Johnson. Let me see, where's the picture of him at? Let's see. Yeah, that's the one.
That's the picture of you and Bob.
Okay. That was my partner right there, Bob Johnson. Sam and Bob, that's what we always were. Then when we had to go and change our names, we went in Mosley and Johnson. And the band is still called Mosley and Johnson Band. That's Bob Johnson's brother right there. Then he got another brother, Willie, that plays with us too.
Yeah.
So we still, Mosley and Johnson, Sam and Bob, whatever people want to call us.
So why did you want to keep on doing music? What was your point in doing music?
You mean
Like-
after Bob passed away?
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. We always made promises to each other. You know, when you got a friend, nothing comes before a friend. Everybody needs a good friend. You know what I'm talking about, don't you? And so we made a pact that if either one of us passed away, we would keep the music alive as long as we were alive.
So keep on going and keep that music alive that you started.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And for us, and that's Bob's brother right there. That's our music plays all over the world. Every 3 months, 4 months, I get a letter from BMI and places like that showing where our music is played at. And it's played all over the world, different places.
Yeah.
And I'm most proud of that.
Why did you start music?
Well, you know, it's always something that young kids like to do. Just for yourself, what do you like to do?
Soccer. I really
There you
like
go.
soccer.
Soccer. What do you like to do?
Baseball.
Cool. For me, it was a guitar. Now, I also played basketball in high school, a little football, but this was my love here.
How long have you had this guitar?
I've had this guitar since 1959. That's a long time.
Yes, sir. How old were you when you got it?
Well, let's see. I was born in 1946.
So you were about in your 20s?
Well, let's see. 46 to 59. Do some quick math, somebody on me.
46 to
59. I got it in 59 and I was born in 46. What is that?
42.
23? 13.
So,
13? Okay.
so how many times do you think the strings broke on it?
You know what? Now that's an interesting question. That's why you always have to have spare strings. And I have those in my case there. Because sometimes they will break. And, you know, if you strike them the wrong way, you could break one. Here's the other thing about a guitar. This is what you call a hollow body guitar. You can't be rough with this guitar. You have to take care of it. Every time I put it down, I don't just lay it somewhere.
You keep
I
it.
put it on my guitar stand. I'll either put it on my stand or I'll put it in my case. Because you don't want these kind are easy to damage and easy to break. So you got to take really, really, really good care of it.
How often do you think that you practice with your band or just play?
Well, I don't practice with the band all the time. If we've got something to do, like last week we played downtown in the park. Did y'all come down?
No, but I did see pictures.
Okay. Okay. Well, when we got something, a big show like that, we'll start about 3 or 4 weeks ahead and start rehearsing and making sure that
That train just wants to interrupt us.
Yeah.
Well, see, that's something you got to get used to being in this place.
Yeah.
Now, there'll be another train come through in about 45 minutes.
What's your favorite?
Constantly.
What's your favorite guitar you've played with?
Favorite who?
Guitar.
Guitar. This is it.
Yeah.
It's a Gibson 335. For me, this is the one because I like the sound of it. That's the kind of sound that I like.
Yeah.
Some people like a rock and roll sound, blues sound. I like kind of a jazzy blues rock sound. You know why?
Why?
Because I want everybody to enjoy it. Not just blues people, but rock people, country people. When I play, whoever's in the audience, I look the audience over and I have something for everybody. That's how you stay in the business for a long time.
How did you learn how to play the guitar? Were you self-taught?
I am self-taught, but I had people that would show me
How to do it?
Mhm.
So you didn't have like something to learn by. You just kind of catched on from people that like your family.
My father was that person. See, back in the day, my father played by ear. You know what that means, don't you?
Yes, he was blind.
He was not a trained musician. He didn't read music off of sheet music. Didn't know how to do that. See? So I was trained by ear also.
Oh, so just listening to it and trying to match the keys? Or not keys, the strings.
Well, that is what you do. When you listen to something, the first thing you do is find out what key it's in. See, that's G. Now, if you hear something on the radio or TV or somewhere, or somebody singing, you know, you find out what key it's in. But I tell you one thing that I learned sometime the hard way. You can't sing in the key that you hear everybody else sing in. Because, and a gentleman taught me this. He said, whenever you're trying to sing a song, make sure you can reach all the high notes in that song and all the low notes. And if you can, that's the key that you should sing it in.
Do you enjoy listening to your music?
to my music?
Yes, sir.
Yes, I do. I'll tell you why. Because when I listen to my music, I always hear something I should have done that a different way. You know what I'm saying? And the next time I do something, a piece of music, I'll try to correct myself on what I didn't do and put it in the next song.
So try to improve.
There you go. That's absolutely right. Try to move forward.
You
Do
have any
y'all
questions?
play music in school?
We have a music teacher. Well, she kind of teaches us keys, but we don't really play
do
them.
anything.
We just kind of learn them.
Okay.
How to read it, but no,
Okay,
we don't
y'all
play.
learn how to read music?
We don't learn how to read sheet music, but different musics like on the scale.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, see, I don't read music either. But you see, I put music down on the scale too. I don't know if you can read.
Mm-hmm.
See what that is?
Key. A, F, C, G, G.
Yeah. That's the same thing your teacher's going to be telling you. First thing you're going to do, well, what are you playing? What's the key? And that's the number one thing that you got to know.
So is that how like you remember your songs? Like you just remember A, or whatever the numbers of the keys are.
That's how I remember what key it's in. Now, I do have in my other bag the lyrics. Because, you know, when you get a little old like me, sometimes you forget some of the lyrics. But I got a whole bag of lyrics for me to remember.
What was your favorite place to travel when you did play music?
Well, I'll tell you this. I've been asked that question before. My favorite place is where you go where people really enjoy themselves. I don't care if it's a little place like this and it ain't but a half a dozen people in here.
Or you care if it's a whole stage full of people?
Well, now let me make sure we're talking about the same thing. Now, when I play, there's not a stage full of people up there where I play.
Oh yeah, there's a. Okay, I know what you're saying.
There's other musicians that help me.
I messed that up. I was.
Okay, now what did you mean?
I meant like people that are in the audience.
Oh,
You don't
yeah.
care if there's a million people in the audience or just half a dozen people.
You know, that is an important question. That's one thing I learned early on from people that have been doing this before me and that taught me. Every time I pick up my guitar to play for an audience, I do the very best I can do. I don't shortcut anything. That's the only way in my mind that you get to that next level that all musicians want to try to achieve. You can't settle on what you did yesterday. You got to move it up a notch until you get where when you're in front of people, they enjoy what you're doing.
I see on your hat that you're a veteran. So how long were you a veteran? How long did you serve?
I served 2 years. I served 13 months in Vietnam. You heard about that place?
Yes, sir, I have.
Okay. That's a place I don't wish anyone had to go, but somebody had to do it. You know, when you have to fight for your country, you got to go.
Yep.
Mike is a veteran. He, matter of fact, you do 20? 22. He was a 22-year veteran in the U.S. Army.
That's a long time.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. But when I went in, we went in as foot soldiers, stevedores, whatever needed to be done, that's what we did. Yeah.
So how old were you when you did go into the Army? Or
20.
20, that's young.
That's really young. See, I had no intention to go in the Army, but I was out on the road playing music, and I got the call. They needed more soldiers. And they had my number, so I had to go.
Did you have to go, or did you decide to go?
Oh, no, it's decided for you. When you got that letter, it said greeting. It said greeting. You have been chosen for the United States Army.
What did you think when you did get that letter?
Well, let me tell you this. I've had a lot of older friends that had been in the service before, and I'm talking about people that's old enough to be my father, my uncles, and things like that.
Oh.
Back then, they had a draft.
Yeah.
You could volunteer if you wanted to, but everybody's name went in this big pool of people, and when they needed X amount of soldiers,
They would pick those names.
they go in and if your name is called, you gotta go. My name was called, I had to go, and that's where I ended up. That's a Vietnam type patch there.
Did anything happen to you when you were in Vietnam?
When I was there,
Yes, sir.
didn't nothing happen to me that hurt me,
Yes.
if that's what you mean.
I did. That's what I
No,
meant.
I never did get hurt like that, but I did. I was exposed to what they call Agent Orange.
Ooh.
You ever heard of that?
No, I haven't, but that sounds not good.
That's right. It's not good. It's a defoliant. It's a thing that they sprayed on vegetation, trees and things. Over there, the bush, you can't see anything in the bush. So they spray that stuff on the trees and the vegetation. Then a few hours, the leaves fall out.
Oh no.
And then we would have to go through there.
So it makes something, so it kind of kills stuff.
That's exactly what it is.
So you don't have anywhere to hide.
Oh, no.
So that's
And
what it,
nobody else have anywhere to hide.
Yeah.
The enemy.
So that's a lose-lose situation for
That's right. But you know, that was our job and that was our duty. And when you go into the service, you got a duty. When they call your number and tell you you got to go somewhere, you got to do it.
Did you make any friends when you were in Vietnam?
Oh yes, I did.
Are you still friends with some of them today?
I am. See, when I got there, here's what happened. See, before I left to go in the Army, everybody stayed in their place. In other words, black folks was over here, white folks was over there, Mexican people were over here, and that's the way it was back in the day. Everybody was separated. But as soon as we got on the military wagon,
Then y'all were all together. So
you got it. You got it. Because when we got where we were going, you had to depend on everybody.
each other.
There
so it
you
could
go.
be a team.
Absolutely. Y'all are some smart young people.
Thank you.
That's exactly right. Y'all been reading some books somewhere, haven't
Kinda.
Yeah.
you? That's fantastic. Yeah. But well, let me ask y'all a few questions.
Okay.
Now, what do you want to do when you go to college, get a degree, and what kind of job would you like to do?
I would like to be a veterinarian.
That's good.
Because I really like animals, but then I also want to play college soccer.
That's good too. All right.
I
What
want
about you?
to get drafted out of the MLB. If I don't make that, I want to be a vet.
Say that again, the first one.
I want to go to MLB, but if I don't make that, I want to be a veterinarian.
Did you say MRB?
MLB,
MLB, what is that?
Major League Baseball.
Oh, come on. That's cool. Go for it. Do you play in school, baseball or softball?
Not yet.
Not yet.
I'm a little young.
You
I
can
play-
Young to go.
I play travel soccer.
Okay. What is the travel soccer?
So it's basically like where you go to different places to play in tournaments.
Okay, okay,
So like Tupelo, Oxford, Memphis.
okay.
So people.
Are you with a team?
Yes, sir, I
Okay,
am.
okay, fantastic.
We're on the same soccer team.
We are.
On the same
Well,
soccer?
Yeah. There's
Then-
boys and a girls
yeah.
team.
We're on the same.
Okay,
We're on the
Like-
same team, just different coaches.
Yeah.
okay, okay. But all girls play at all girls?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Like all-star. That's good, that's good. Are y'all winning?
Kinda.
Yeah.
We're good. Just sometimes there's teams that practice like every single day, and it's just, which we don't do that.
We just practice
Twice a week.
Tuesday and Thursday.
Okay, that's okay.
That's it.
Well, keep doing it, you'll get better at it.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
That's fantastic. Okay, when you get out of high school, you're gonna go to college, right?
Yes, sir.
Now, where do you want to go to college?
Mississippi State.
Mississippi State. What about you?
Mississippi State.
Mississippi State.
It has the best veterinarian school in the country.
Okay.
So, and I'm a big fan of Mississippi State.
Yeah.
Well, that's all right. Guess what school I went to?
Almost.
Yep.
A college.
Yeah, I went to college.
I don't know.
Which college do you think I went?
She said it whenever we were in
I
the
know.
museum.
She told us what college you went to. It was a community college.
First, yes. Northeast.
Yeah.
Yes,
Ole
I knew
Miss.
that.
Mm-hmm.
Northeast and Ole Miss.
Yes.
You played football there at Northeast, right?
Yes, I did.
What position did you play?
Wide receiver. I was lanky and fast and could catch the ball. And I loved it. I loved it. I loved it.
What made you decide not to play at Ole Miss?
Well, I'll tell you, I really had an opportunity, but I got the call from a record company about playing music and going on the road.
On tour?
Mhm.
And you were more passionate about the guitar?
Yeah.
Yes, yes. And it hasn't let me down.
Yeah.
This day.
No.
See, I'm 75 years old,
And
I
you're
can
still playing.
do this. But if I'd have went sports,
You
You'd have to
you wouldn't be as successful as you are now.
Yeah.
no, I wouldn't have. A lot of people did, you know, but I'm happy about my choice.
Yeah.
That's the thing about it too, you know, when you get to a certain age and you start making choices for yourself, you know, make sure you're ready for the choice that you make.
If you could change anything that you did in the past, what would you change?
Well, I'll tell you one thing that I would probably do, even though I've managed to do it my way and be successful at it. See, I never did learn to read music.
You wish you would have learned how to read music?
Yes. But that hasn't stopped me from writing music
Yeah.
and creating music. Because you know what? There's always somebody that can't create it, but they can write it.
Mm-hmm.
I played in the park down there this past weekend, and they had 4 horn players. Every one of those were trained, college trained, career trained, read music. You see this right here?
Mm-hmm.
That's my show. That's my show. That's every song on there. They had it written out in music. Now they had never rehearsed with me, but they knew how to play every note on every song. So when we got ready to play the other night,
You were not.
they had a whole notebook with every song you see right there, name in their notebook. When I call the name of the song, they flip over to it.
Easton and I have both said that this is the closest that we've ever gotten to a famous
Yeah.
person.
Yeah.
We're just like anybody else. I can't see. Let me tell you this. Now, those people that I was talking about that came down and did the horns for me, now, they're big time famous. But here's the difference. I recorded one of the first albums that we did with those guys. And it turned out they are musicians first. And what I mean by that, they recorded with some of the biggest artists, not just in the country, in the world. You name it, they've recorded with it, because they can read and write and all this kind of stuff. But here's the thing about it. When they recorded with me, it didn't make any difference to them whether I could read it or not. They said, play a little bit of it and see what you're doing. So I would play it, you know. And they'd listen and they'd write it down.
Were you excited when you learned that you were going to play for people or play with people who had done collaborations with other big time musicians?
Yes, let me tell you this. You always look at yourself and you wonder, how good are you? You heard them play on all big stars and everything, and you know they're excellent musicians, but you don't know if they're fine people. Some people like that are cantankerous. You know, if you can't read and they can, you know,
they'll treat you like you're way different.
Yeah. But these guys from Muscle Shoals, Alabama, they're not like that. They're some of the nicest men that you could meet. And what they would tell you is, okay, now, what you want to go on that song right there? And I might say, and they would say, hold it right there. And they would,
write it down?
yeah, just that quick. Just that quick. See, for them, they would write 1, 6, 2, 5. Then the next notation they put down is what kind of 1, what kind of 6, what kind of 2. And when they get through with it, they'd be playing the same thing.
You're really good.
Yeah.
And see, that's another thing. Now, that when they wrote down what I played, I'm doing what I'm doing from memory. I know what it is, and I know how to play it and where to put it at.
Do you look at yourself any different than anybody else?
No. You don't do that in the music business. You don't. 'Cause here's the thing. And it could be this way in some other thing. No matter how good you think you are, there's somebody somewhere, and this is what musicians say, that make you want to put your hand in your pocket. That's just you know what kind of term that is?
Kind of like figurative language? Or?
Yeah, figurative language. You got to do some more practice before you be on that category with these people. And those are the kind of guys that we had with us this past weekend. The Muscle Shoals Horns. Wait, and the train go by, I'll tell you the rest of that.
Yeah, that's the 45-minute train.
That's right. Now the Muscle Shoals Horns have played on millions of sellers, people doing different kind of music. They played on music with John Lennon that was with the Beatles.
That's cool.
Is that something?
Yeah.
They played on, let's see, Elvis. You ever heard of Elvis?
Yeah.
They played on music for Elvis.
Man, they're big.
Big time, absolutely. And think about this. here's little old me down here in little old New Albany, Mississippi. I can call them up and they'll come down here and play for me just like they played behind Elvis or whoever. The musicians first.
How many times have you had a sore on your fingers from playing?
Had a sore?
On your fingers.
Here's the thing about it. When I first started, I had sores on my finger. But once I started, I never stopped. And the way you do that, I play my guitar some every day. Because see, I got calluses filled on the end of my finger. See right there?
Mm-hmm.
That's what you got to have if you're going to do it. Because it would get sore and things like that. But if you're going to be a musician, you gotta hang with it. Like anything else.
When did you start your band? Start playing with other people?
First, I started playing with my brothers, and that was like in 1959. That's a long time ago.
So when you got your guitar? No, that was 1946.
Well,
No, that was the same year.
Yeah, see, my daddy always had a guitar in the house. But he told me don't mess with it because it was valuable. But what he was doing was testing me,
To see
first of all, to see if I would do what he told me not to do. And you know how it is sometimes with us young folks. Like, you know, your parents will tell you, don't do this or don't do that. And sometimes we would just kind of do it. You know what I mean? So, anyway, one day my daddy come in, but see, when he would hang up his guitar, he would hang it up like that, kind of an angle. I didn't know that that's what he was doing, so when I mess with it, it'd be like that. And guess what?
he noticed.
He knew I was messing with it. But what he did was, he didn't say a word, because I didn't hurt it, I didn't drop it. So that's why sometimes you got to be careful. Cause one time he came home early, and guess what?
You were messing with it.
And so I was scared to death, you know, because he had told me not to mess with it. He said, okay, sit down now, play me something. Okay. I played him something, and he never again told me not to play. But he told me take care of it. Certain things you don't do with the guitar. You don't catch it by the neck and pick it up with the neck. You do it like that. And that's where you don't want to damage anything in it or anything like that.
Because it can mess up how it plays.
Yeah. Yeah. You gotta take care of it. This is what you call a hollow body. You see them notes in there?
Yes,
Open notes there. So you got to take real good care of one of these. So, and that's the way I don't allow. I got a grandson, and he wants to play with my guitar, but I don't let him. I bought him one of his own.
Does he play?
No, he's only 3 years old.
Okay.
But he wants to, so I'm gonna try to teach him little by little and help him go.
Do you hope that he carries on your legacy?
Well, you know what, I would be happy if he did, but I'd also be happy at whatever he chose to do, if that's what he wants to do. That's the number one thing about playing an instrument.
Make sure that you're happy with it.
Yeah, yeah. Make sure that the individual that wants to play it is serious about playing it. You know what I mean?
I do.
But it's okay to learn how just to play a few things maybe on the piano if that's what you want to do. But if you're talking about getting serious about it, You know, you got to want to do it. You got to love it. I love my guitar. I love to play my guitar, and I love taking care of it. You know.
Yes, sir, I do.
I don't let none of my children ever went in my guitar case and got my guitar out. They know not to do that. But if they want to sit down with me and have me show them how to do a few things, I'll do that.
But you're afraid that they're going to break it or do something wrong with it.
Yes, to be honest with you. Because you know how some children are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't forget, you know, it's like when I get through doing what I'm doing here, I put it back in my case.
Maybe they won't.
Yeah, they may just lay it somewhere.
And then it gets stepped on or broke.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. Those kind of behaviors have to be learned. And when they learn it, it'll be okay, you know. But it's like any other thing, you know, you have to really want to do something to be good at it.
Mm-hmm.
So, do you have any interest in playing any kind of music?
Piano. I'm kind of like, I got on my iPad and I kind of just looked up something and I kind of know how to play a little piece of something of Titanic.
Mm-hmm.
My Heart Will Go On. I know a little bit of it.
Okay, well that's
Not
a
very
start.
much of it.
That's what about you?
A little bit of guitar.
A little bit of guitar? That's good. That is good. You think you're gonna play a little more than a little bit someday?
Probably.
I hope to get not guitar lessons, piano lessons.
Well, that's good. That's good.
When you were smaller, did you think that you would ever become this big, well-known musician?
No. You know what? I never thought about that. You know, when you're young, you just, you know, we was out there chasing rabbits and stuff like that, you know, squirrel hunting. But the first time, see, I used to play and sing in the church. I might not all tell you all this, but I'm going to tell you anyway, it ain't nothing bad. But in the church, they would say, "Thank you, Jesus, for," you know, pat me on the head. And I said, "Okay, thank you, ma'am." But on Sunday afternoon, I'd go right down the street there with this juke joint, just like this place here, and play a song for me, and I'd play for them. Now, when I got through playing down there, they started putting money in a fruit jar. You know what a fruit jar is?
I don't, kinda.
It's just a jar that, you know, back in the day, my mother and grandmother and them, they canned a lot of food, you know.
Kind of like a jam jar.
Exactly. We have one like that sitting up on the counter. And you play a song or two, if they like it, they'll drop a quarter, a nickel, a dime. Some of them put 50-cent piece in there. And so it struck me, wow, I can play this guitar. And they put money in my fruit jar.
You didn't expect that to happen, did you?
No, I did not. I sure didn't. But you know, it taught me something. Everything you do, learn the value of what you're doing. See, when I did that, I said, I wonder why they put money in the fruit jar. Because I wasn't that good. But one thing, this one guy, and I'll tell you who it was, Mike, Junior Mack was named. Now, for y'all that know Junior, every time we ever played down there on that thing we have in town here, Junior Mack would be the first one to get out there and start dancing. Up until the day he died, he was right out there in front of the band, dancing. You know, and he did the same thing down at Bud Turner's Cafe. Y'all ever know where that was? It's just right around the corner. And we would play down there. Junior McWilliam would get on the floor and start dancing. And one other thing that he would do, he would get that fruit jar, about that size. He'd set it right up there on one of them speakers. He'd throw a 25-cent piece or $half, and then he'd take around, put something in here for these boys. And so the next time we'd play down there, we wouldn't have to say nothing. Junior would get the jar and set it up there. And the other thing, he would start dancing. And that taught me something about playing music. Okay, what kind of music are you going to play? You have to recognize where you are. Is this a dancing crowd or a listening crowd? So once you start how to figure that out, then more people will throw money in your jar.
What was this cafe called when it was still up and running?
Lee Oldest place. Wasn't that Miss Gibson's name? Lee Oldest. Oh, a woman's name. What would be the name? Lee Oldest.
Yeah, Lee
Oldest Gibson. This was her cafe. It was her stools right there. She cooked right back there. People would have chairs and tables in here and cafe stuff. And on that side, her husband, old man Gipp, had a barber shop right back there and a shoe shop on that side.
Where they would polish shoes?
Polish shoes, fix shoes. That was back in the days when you didn't always buy a new pair of shoes. You fixed the one that you had. It had heels on it and soles on it. And the old man had a machine that he could fix all that. You come in there and you done lost a heel, he put you another one. And cut your hair when he got through. You know, it's amazing how people were enterprising back in those days. And he was also, old man Gipp was the barber. Did he stop doing what he did when we was in school, Mike? The High Point man got a haircut.
No, he didn't stop. No, he still gave you that.
He still did that?
The high point.
Okay.
Score.
Yeah, that's a high score. But I can tell you this, you know, if you're happy at what you're doing, be happy. But the number one thing, keep your head in them books. I know your teachers and your parents tell you that all the time. But see, I was young too. I wanted to watch TV. But it's all good. It's all good. What's the best class you like in school?
The best class the class that I enjoy and the class that I'm probably best in is probably reading.
Cool. That's all right. What about you?
Math.
Wow. Now that's fantastic. We all like to try to slide around that.
Yes.
We sure did. You know who was the best math student in our class? You know Robert Armstrong, don't you?
Robert Armstrong, really.
Yeah, for Red Hill. He was the best one.
We had somebody in our class who he could do multiplication without even thinking about it. And we would have competitions in our class between two boys who would always do who could do it like the fastest and who could do it without messing up the fastest.
Okay. Well, we always we knew nobody could beat Robert Armstrong. We did the best we could, but he just had that little extra. I don't know whether he was studying more than we were, or, you know, I don't know, but he could do it. You know, we get tangled up on some of that kind of math, you know, especially division.
Yeah, division. That's pretty hard. I caught on the division pretty quickly.
You did?
Yes.
All right.
Which we do it way differently because like my parents can't even help me with my homework
Oh,
Yeah.
because they do it so much differently now.
Okay. I did pretty good until we got where we had that algebra and stuff. Did y'all ever have to do that? Well, you're not there yet.
No, you do that in about 6th grade. He's going into 4th, I'm going into 5th. So I'll get to do that about next year.
You got 1 more year.
Huh?
You got 1 more year.
He's got 2. That train is loud.
Yeah. They come by about every 45 minutes or so, 30 minutes.
Does it ever get annoying just
Yeah.
keep on coming by him?
Sometimes we don't even notice it unless we try to do something or talk. We just wait till it goes by. Can't rush the train.
You can just play louder.
Yeah.
Well, you can't outplay the train.
Uh-uh.
You know, you play loud, but it just be loud.
No.
You still hear the train.
It's not going to black out the train. It's just going to sound loud.
Let the train do its thing. And that's another thing. When you get up old enough to be driving, don't ever race a train across the track.
Have you done that?
You know, when I was young, I tried it a time or two.
Oof.
Never did that again. Never did it again.
Oof.
Because, you know, your parents and your friends will tell you all the time, don't try to race the train. So a tide doesn't count. You're in bad shape. So, you know, you learn things. The older you get, you know what to do and what not to do. One of the main things is, you know, don't be hard-headed with your parents. And don't ever think that you know more than they know. Right?
Sometimes.
But believe me, you don't. You know. But always respect your elders, your parents, your teachers, everyone. Take you a long way. Take you a long way. Take you a long way. You know, our teacher used to tell us what she wanted us to do for the next class, the next day, you know. Get problems 1 through 10. Well, you know, some of us would come in there, we got 1 through nothing. And we also got, you know, I know they don't do this now, but back in the day, see, if we didn't get our lesson right, we might get a little paddling.
Oh no.
You see, they don't do kids like that now.
If we don't get stuff done by like a certain time frame and like we give them like 2 hours to do it and it's only like 20 questions, they will send them to the office.
Okay.
But if like we do our homework but like we forget it or we forget it at our house, we have to sit out recess.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay.
And like if you have the attitude with the teacher, you'll go to the office.
Okay. Then you get it right.
You don't really, I've never been in the office.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so you get yours like you're supposed to.
Yeah.
That's cool. What about you?
I haven't been to the office.
There's some people in my class who get sent multiple times.
Yeah.
Is there more boys than girls?
There's actually there was a good bit of, actually, when we were going half virtual the week and then like people would go to school at different times,
Yeah.
there was only 1 boy in our class at like on 2 of the days. There was only 1 boy in our class.
Wow.
So it was, like all of the girls were talking and then he was just kind of like there. It was funny.
Okay. Let me ask you a question because I was watching TV and a lot of the kids, they didn't particularly like that virtual stuff. They would rather be in class, at school.
Yeah, the reason is because you have a lot of distractions.
Yeah.
And then it's easier to just do your work in the class. Like you have all of your when you're at home, you like hear your younger siblings and then somebody else, like they're playing, they're having their off time, and then you just want to go and join in while they're doing something fun, like playing a board game, and then you can't do that, but if you don't do it, you're going to get in trouble at school the next day.
Yeah.
All right.
So,
Well, you got it going on. You know exactly what to do. Well, I tell you what, it's been a joy and a pleasure to sit and chat with you.
I'm glad I made a new friend.
Well, good. Just keep do what you, I always say, I tell my grandkids, you do what your mama said, do what your teacher said, and then do what your daddy said. You know, because they'll come, they're the ones that's going to keep you straight.
Yeah.
You know how we daddies and granddaddies are. I got a grandson, he'll only come to his granddaddy when he done something he didn't have no business.
Oh yeah, that's what happens. Like I'll go to my dad and I'll say, I spilled something in the carpet. And he'll be like, okay, shh.
Yeah.
He'll cover for me.
I do the same thing. Ain't that something? I really enjoyed y'all today.
You too.
You too.
Y'all have a nice rest of the day.
I hope that we kept you company for a while.
A couple hours.
You did, and I'll tell you something, y'all are well-adjusted young people.
Thank you.
You're very smart and intelligent.
Thank you.
You know, and that's a plus wherever you go.
It was a pleasure meeting you, and you are really cool. And I hope you know that you're very well known.
Yes, very well.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Thank you.